It is the Wimmera Footy Report, and it is the Warwick Herald's own Scotty Stewart previewing the preliminary final. The action aplenty. He's with us now. G'day, Scotty. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Wayne.
Well, what a weekend it was last weekend on your own Anzac Park in Warwick, Nabil. It came down to the Southern Mallee Giants, who ran out and were victorious over Ararat and inflicted their first loss of the season. It comes in the finals. It was 14-13, 97 to 11-7, 73. Is there such a thing as the loss you need to have, and would you rather have that in the home and away? Is there a bit of a theory behind that? Because the Giants are the giant killers.
Yeah, the Giants have done it again. They've got not a bad record in semi-finals, second semi-finals. Their record, they did it a couple of years ago where they headed straight into the grand final, and they're going to do it again this season after that game on last Saturday at Anzac Park. It was a cracker of a game and played great weather and good surface and in front of a good old boisterous crowd. So they enjoyed themselves, the Southern Mallee Giants, in that, especially in that last quarter, because it was it's one of those games where they seem to have it under control each quarter, and then Ararat would just fight back. And the first quarter there, I think it was 3-1 at one stage, and then Ararat closed the gap, and then the second quarter, the Giants have controlled it again, but then Ararat's hit back again in that third quarter and reduced it to 7 points at three-quarter time, and she was game on in the last quarter.
Yeah, wasn't it a fantastic performance by the Giants, and Webster with 5. There just seems to be their running brigade, their fitness level now. Apparently a bit of chirp was going on, as we heard a bit earlier from Sammy White. Were the crowd a bit chirpy too? I mean, was there a bit flying about?
Yeah, there was always a bit flying about when the Giants and the Rats made up. I've heard that's through the grapevine with the supporter bases. They have a bit of a go at each other, but that's all good, all part of the game. And the Giants supporters would have been pretty happy with what's happened, what unveiled in that last quarter. But you mentioned the Giants and their just the way they went about it, and they had plenty of winners across the ground. And I think you've already touch base with Sammy about the key defensive effort they made, but they had a winner up and forward there, and Josh Webster has kicked a couple of early goals and finished with 5 for the day. And Luke Marnie, he's done it again, and Rupert Sank, they both kicked 3, which you'll mention, but Marnie, he sort of iced the game there. It's a couple of minutes into time on in the last quarter, put them about 20-odd points up, and she was all game over from there. So a good last quarter by the Giants.
Yeah, wasn't it? And the Southern Mallee Giants grand final bound. They'll be training at Beulah this week, as we've heard. And I'll tell you what, Ararat will be going in hard because they face a prelim final. We'll look at it in a minute. I want you to give me the reason why the Saints were able to bounce back so gallantly after a poor performance the week before against the Giants. They won against Imbula 17-13, 115 to 10-15, 75. After half-time, their third quarter was dominant.
That was, yeah. That's put the game to bed there. They dominated the first quarter. They kicked 4-6, but that could have been, you could have had 6. They could have had 6 or 7 goals on the board there quite easily. They just had that much of a play. But Jimmy, as they did in that elimination final, come roaring back in the second quarter and trailed by just the 5 points at half-time. And you thought, hello, we might be in for another repeat of the week before, but it wasn't to be. They had a bit of an incident sometime late in that second quarter. Their Darwin recruit, Dylan Lant, received a yellow card over the half-time break. So they went in half-time thinking they had a full complement, and to start with, they put 7 on the field. He got to receive the yellow card from an incident and got sent off basically by the goal umpire, which he informed the field umpires during the halftime break. And whether that was the main catalyst behind the Saints putting the game to bed at three-quarter time, who really knows? But it didn't help the Dimboola cause, that's for sure, because the Saints, they were just up and about, and they had winners up forward. Young Adrian Lumpton, he's kicked 4 for the day, and he was pretty influential in that quarter, and then the last quarter, 4 goals or 3, and the Saints just had it pretty well under control and set her up for this weekend against the Rats, which will be a hell of a game.
Yeah, see, Lumpton's really snuck under the radar this year because he, in the 12 games he's played, kicked 43 goals. So, gee, that's a big effort. He's played a lot of games in the reserves, I might add too, but when he's come up to senior level, he's starting to have an impact, which he will need to have this weekend, one would think. Having a look too at the other side of the ledger, and it was goals from Dwyer with 3, Godden and Ross both booted 2 each, and Lupton was supported by Garth, Irwin and Brennan, all booting a couple, along with O'Byrne and Taylor, and good efforts all round there. So it was a very good match of football. Dimmy gone. Horsham Saints into the prelim. Just a quick call on the Monday night. It is the medal count, and the Tui is going to go off again. Just a quick thought on who you think might be at the top of the pile at the end of the night.
Yeah, the Tui medal Monday night. The very open race. I'm assuming with this one. You're going through each listing there, and everyone's got their players that have had standout seasons, and I'm probably going to miss one, but I'd be putting Cole Cheney right up there amongst it. The Warwick Eagles key defender probably won't get the 3 votes, obviously, on a lot of the occasions because of they only won 1 game for the year. But he had a great season, and I'd really be putting him up there. But Kieran Delahunty, who's dominated the award over the last few years, well, he's obviously probably not in the running because he had that injury throughout the year. So I think it's thrown it wide open. I mean, you've still got store coach Tommy Eckel, young Benny Miller from Dimboola. One of the Driscoll boys over there at Mill might shine fairly well because they had a really good season and they would have come under the microscope a fair bit. So, but yeah, you keep going through the lines, and Mitchie Martin from Horsham Saints had a great season. Minnie Mattel pretty even across the field. Ararat obviously with the finish undefeated on top of that, they're going to have a lot of vote getters. So be wide open, I think, and hopefully Kyle can poll a fair few votes.
It'll be a great night, and we'll look forward to seeing who is made the Tui medalist for 2023. And we look at the prelim final now, and it's the 2 sides. Ararat haven't had the shock of having not sung the club's song last week. They'll have to get back to their practicing sheet, but the Horsham Saints will come at them at Davis Park. I thought this was interesting. Ararat have got the double chance, not lost a game through the whole year, and their double chance is a 2-hour drive up to Davis Park at nil.
Yeah, Davis Park. It'll host the preliminary final on Sunday there, and it'll come up a treat. Depending on the weather, we've had having some pretty ordinary weather over the weekend, but by Sunday, hopefully it might have blown away, and they will be played in pretty good conditions. As you say, Ararat will make the longer trip and get up there to nil, but that shouldn't faze the Ararat boys. Matty Wilder will have his lads pretty well refocused and ready to hit this contest pretty hard and try and get back into their second successive grand final appearance. They should start favourite. They did come off that loss last week, and the Saints produced a pretty good game, but I still think they deserve to start favourite, and I think they should get the game done. Matty would have tweaked a few things with things that did work, things that didn't work from last weekend, and should be a good battle. But as we've said all year about the Saints, it just can't write them off at any time, can't underestimate them. And we spoke about young Lupton last week. He pops up and kicks 4 goals, and they still got Mitchie Martin and Jared Garth up there in the forward line to kick that win and score, and they captain Angus Martin through the defensive lines, and they've got midfielders, and it'll be a great battle, but I will stick with the Rats on this one.
Minya Matara in the reserves against the Horsham D's. Many expecting the Boroughs to get the job done and get into another grand final for their reserves.
Well, yeah, you would think that, but Horsham, I reckon they're coming in the Rezzies. They did it last year, and I think they're going to do it again this year. I'm just going to tip the Demons to get the job done, and that's just because the lineup that they're putting out there on the field at the moment, it's a pretty decent one. It's some really good experienced players mixed up with some good kids, and they might just get over the line. But the Boroughs, they always handle it pretty well in the reserves grade. But I might tip the D's there.
And in the 17s, the last time Horsham Saints and Ararat met, it was Saints 16-4 to 4-7 in the home and away round 17 part of the season. Then in the first final, it was the Saints 7-5 to Ararat 7-3. Ararat have closed the gap. Are they going to be able to win this time?
Yeah, well, that's the interesting one, isn't it? I've sort of got me thoughts that without saying a lot of the under-17s, and you're really just going by results and ladder positions, and the Horsham and the Horsham Saints boys just look like they're going to play off in the grand final. So I'd be thinking that the Saints will be able to continue their little winning run over the Rats and make their way into the grand final. But you never know, as you say there. Well, the Rattles will make that long trip up to Davis Park. It's nice and early for them, but I think the Saints should get over the line.
And the 14s has got Horsham Saints and Store Warriors. They did play off again in that qualifying final, second and third, and it was Saints 9-6 to Warriors 3-4. I just think they might continue and get a dip against this powerful Horsham D's side in the 14s, who haven't lost a thing, and I reckon have nearly mercied everybody through the season, including the second and third place sides.
Yeah, that's right. And you'd think that in the 14s everyone's playing for second, but I think it'll be the Saints. I reckon it'll be the two junior games will be Horsham versus Horsham Saints, and still good last weekend. They dismantled the Warwick Eagles and they put them out of the race. But I think there might be a little bit of a gap between 1 and 2 compared to the third place team. So I'm thinking, the Saints might get home in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to the results coming through, and Scotty Stewart, look forward to the read in the Warwick Herald, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Yeah, no worries. Good on you, mate.